channel. There the classes will be recorded. If you want to go through the previous classes also, where the same topics were covered in live, that you can also run through, and you may get some idea also. The same kind of lectures will be continued here. Okay. So what is the theory? In the previous class, just I have mentioned that theory is based on some kind of research. Based on the research output, generally we propose the theories as a communication scholars, etc. So theories are generally proposed to uphold a theory or to test a theory or to propose a new theory based on your research. So here communication theories will try to explain what you have the theories, but generally we do have different theories also, but those are not part of your syllabus. Generally communication theories will try to explain the impact of the communication on the individuals. Like you might have a personal influence theory, balance theory, attitude changes theory, individual differences theory. Then you also have cognitive dissonance theory. There are many theories apart from the theories which are proposed here in as part of your syllabus. Along with that, there is a theory called agenda setting theory that will try to explain how the mass media sets an agenda for the public. What are the issues are presented for the general audience or the mass media audiences, or what how the order of priority is set by the media. But individuals might not have the same kind of order of priority. We might not be able to adopt depending on our interest. We might adopt order of priority. We watch only a few television channels during depending on your interest. You may choose a particular channel and particular slot or a program to watch. The same way, there are number of newspapers which are printed, but depending on your interest, depending on your affordability, you may read a particular newspaper. In that particular newspapers also, depending on your needs, you may also only read a particular news stories which are printed in the newspaper. In that particular news stories also, you might not be able to read the whole story from the beginning to the end, but depending on your time or depending on your interest, you may read the whole story. Otherwise, you can just read the headline or some bullet points or the lead, what we call the first paragraph of a particular news story that is being presented through the newspapers. So it depends on the individuals, as the individuals have unique characteristics. It depends on their needs, depending on their interests, etc. They might only consume some parts of the information that is presented by the mass media. So like the same way, newspapers we have, you may purchase a few newspapers. In that also, you may only consume some information. Okay. Then, so here what you have is a theories like there is a one-step flow communication theory as part of the syllabus. That then you also have hypodermic bullet theory and hypodermic bullet magic bullet theory and hypodermic needle theory. So these both the theories were proposed during the 1940s. During the Franklin Roosevelt elections were going on, and after during the World War II, they proposed these theories. And at that time, people used to assume that mass media have a lot of impact on the audience. So they proposed this theory, assuming that media is the only source which will influence the audience in changing the behavior regarding various issues. And it also leads to decision making, etc. But this hypodermic bullet theory speaks that it describes the messages as the magic bullets. When these magic bullets are shot, like mass media are explained as a gun, When these messages are the magic bullets, when they are shot directly into the audience, it will have uniform, direct, powerful impact on the audiences. But in reality, it might not be the same. So those who pay attention to the mass com or mass media messages might not perceive the same way as the other individual. Okay. So as you have unique characteristics, the same kind of attention you may not pay, and all of you might not consume the media messages directly, or there might be people intermediaries. They might explain the messages to the other end users or the receivers. So according to this theory, the individuals or the receivers are passive and defenseless, which means the individuals do not, they are not paying much attention to the communication, and they are also unable to control themselves from the mass media messages attack. So as they are defenseless, whatever is shot at them, they are consuming that kind of messages from the mass media. This magic bullet theory portrays that mass media as having a direct, immediate, powerful effects on those who pay attention to the mass media content. So it is only a assumption that media will have a direct impact on the audiences, but in general, it depends on the individuals. Again, some people might be affected by the media, some people might not be affected by the media when they consume the content. There is a communication scholar called Bernard Berelson, Bernard Bernard Berelson. He says that when communication is or the mass media messages are brought to the attention of some kind of individuals under some kind of conditions on some kind of issues might have some kind of impact, which means all the communication will not have any impact, but under certain circumstances, when some kind of messages, when they reach the audience, might have only some kind of impact. Again, the impact of individuals might be different from one individual to the other individual. Okay, but this theory assumes that the individuals, they consume the mass media content from the mass media directly, and again the theory also assumes that the content will from the mass media will reach each eye and ear, but in general, because of the affordability, we may not afford to have all those newspapers to read, where you use your eyes to read the content, and yes, you might have both the audiovisual mediums or maybe the radio to afford or listen to the content. So in those kind of cases, it is different from one person to the other, what they consume from the mass media. But this theory assumes that each and every individual who is paying attention to the mass media as a passive and defenseless audiences, and they are consuming whatever is presented to them. So here it is also says that it has the magic bullet theory also says that it will have direct impact on the audiences, but individuals might not be affected by the content also. It depends on the individuals and the circumstances and the issues at some point of time. For example, during the night, if you watch a horror movie, etc., it might have some kind of impact when you sleep, but or when you are walking alone in a dark street, etc. But daytime or maybe when sometimes it might not have any impact. Even though you watch horror movies, it might not have any impact on certain audiences. So it depends on how they consume, how they interpret the messages, how they perceive the information. And mass media effects might be on there on the audiences for a longer time, shorter time. It depends on the individuals again. But and children's, if you see, they are most affected with the content when a television is presenting, like Pogo channels or Cartoon Networks, animation channels, whatever are there. They present a lot of content for the children, and people, it has a lot of impact on the children. At the same way, it is also again depends on maybe the housewives, or it is only an assumption. People might be very, what you call, pay attention to some kind of serials. It depends on again the individual's interests, based on the portrayals, how they portray, what is the storyline. Based on that, people might also pay attention to that kind of content. Okay, that is magic bullet theory. Along with that, we also have a hypodermic needle theory that speaks where the messages are explained as the medicine, and the mass media channels are explained as the injection. When this mass media messages or the medicine is injected into the every vein of the human being, it will have direct powerful impact on the audiences, as they are passive and defenseless. Every eye and the ear will uh, consume the content which is presented by the mass media. But again, it depends on the individuals, depending on their unique characteristics, etc. It might have impact or it might not have impact on the audiences. Because of that, this magic bullet theory and the hypodermic needle theory was criticized. These two theories were only proposed based on assuming that the media might have powerful direct impact on the audiences, those who pay attention to the communication. Then you have a one-step flow communication theory. This one-step flow communication itself speaks that media messages are flowing only in one step, which means like what we have explained in the hypodermic needle theory, the media messages are directly reaching the audience, those who are the one who are consuming the content from the mass media, which means there are no other intermediaries. They are acting as the opinion leaders. They may not be able to interpret the messages from the mass media to the other individuals. But if you see, when the television was not so popular in India, or maybe the radio, which was only came to existence in 1927 onwards, where at that time, because of the affordability, because of the illiteracy, etc., there are people, they used to act as the opinion leaders. They used to consume the content from the mass media, and they used to interpret the information for the larger audience with the help of the interpersonal communication, etc. But here, this one-step flow communication theory speaks that mass media messages directly reaches the audience without any other opinion leaders, with the support of the opinion leaders, etc. So here, people are also only gets influenced by the mass media, not by the any other factors. But in general, just now I said Bernard Berelson, when the communication brought to the attention of people under some kind of conditions, on some kind of issues, when the information is portrayed for the audience under some kind of conditions, it will have some kind of impact. But not all the audiences who pay attention to the communication might not be affected by the mass media. But one step flow communication theory, it just says that the mass media messages are flowing from the mass media directly to the audience, like how we get the DTH service. So messages are dispersed for the audience with the help of the satellite, and with the help of the DTH connections, we are getting the information. The same way, here, the mass media messages are reaching the eyes of the people and ears of the people directly, without nobody is interfering or interpreting the media messages. If you see the two-step flow communication theory, it was proposed by Kurtz and Lazarsfeld. According to this theory, mass media messages are flowing in two steps: from the mass media to the opinion leaders, and from the opinion leaders to the other less active individuals in the society, those who are in touch with the opinion leaders. So here, they wanted to, Kurtz and Lazarsfeld wanted to study the general impact of mass media on the people, those who have changed their voting pattern during the course of election campaign by the Franklin Roosevelt in United States during the 1940s elections. So here, the study found that the mass media simply reinforced the existing voting behavior of the people, but people are more influenced by the personal contacts than the mass media influencing them. And the results were published in the People's Choice. And this, whatever the study which Paul Lazarsfeld and Kurtz conducted to study the impact of the mass media on the audiences during the Franklin Roosevelt when he campaigned, a lot that was covered in the mass media channels, and whether it has impact on the audiences or not. They conducted the study and they found that people are more influenced with the personal contacts than the mass media, which influenced the audiences, those who changed their voting behavior during the course of election. So this two-step flow community, whatever the study which was conducted by the Lazarsfeld and Kurtz, that led to the formation of the two-step flow communication theory and also the personal influence theory. So here, just now I said that information is flowing in two steps according to the two-step flow communication theory. There are people, those who are called as the opinion leaders, and these are the opinion leaders with their day-to-day personal contacts with the other sections of the people. They influence others on matters of decision making and opinion formation. So opinion leaders are acting as the intermediaries from the mass media with the less active individuals in the society. So here, when the messages are flowing in two steps from the mass media to the opinion leaders and from them to the other sections of people, those who are in touch with the opinion leaders. Here, again, when these are the opinion leaders who consume a lot of information from the mass media channels, and they are the one who interpret the media messages to the other active, less active individuals in the society with their interpersonal communication channels. Okay, here the mass media also plays an important role on the formation of public opinion on various issues. So public opinion is nothing but the opinion of public on various issues. So here the opinion leaders plays an important role in formation of the public opinion, and they also influence the other individuals in when it comes to the decision making or opinion formation. So here, according to this theory, mass media messages are invariably mediated by the opinion leaders. And here, ideas or the messages from the mass media are flowing in two steps from the mass media to the opinion leaders and from the opinion leaders to the less active sections of population in the society. So again, when it comes to the opinion leaders, they are not so subject experts in all fields. You're not getting my audio. Wait. Voice not there. But here, just a minute. You're not able to hear me. I will stop sharing. Just
But
you're
screen is
able to
not.
hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
But
You're
the
not
screen.
able.
Yes, ma'am. I can hear you. But your screen is not to be seen, ma'am.
The screen is not visible.
Yes, ma'am.
I will just stop sharing and we'll share again. Just check. But you can run through your notes also. I don't know why it is not sharing. Now you are able to see?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Chalo. You are able to hear me, Kada?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, done. I got a message that my audio is not coming, etc. So, okay. So here, where we are, two-step flow communication theory. So here, the ideas or the messages from the mass media are flowing from the mass media to the opinion leaders and from them to the less active individuals in the society. But when it comes to the opinion leaders, they are not so subject experts in all fields, but they are experts in the kind of information they pass down to the other individuals. So limited experience they might have on limited number of areas, and based on that only what they consume, based on that they only interpret those kind of messages where they are familiar or they are experts. For example, when it comes to agricultural communication, if you want to disseminate information, there are village level workers, they are maybe familiar with disseminating this agricultural kind of communication to the other sections of people with uh, face-to-face communication. But when it comes to the uh, political activities or politics related information, panchayat head or the sarpanch or maybe the people who act as the political leaders in villages, or the panchayat heads or heads of any associations, etc., they might be able to share that information with the larger audiences. So, which means they are not subject experts in all the areas which they cover or the issues which presented by the media, but they are very selective in the kind of information they pass down to the other sections of people. So here again, the mass media is also an important thing which plays an which presents a lot of information for the public. But what these opinion leaders will consume is a little bit of information, and that they pass on to the other sections of people. Not the whole information they consume, which is presented by the media, and that the information what they receive from the mass media, that might not be the same when these opinion leaders explain or transmit that information to the other individuals in the society. So whenever these opinion leaders are passing down the information from the mass media to the other sections of the people, they add their own opinion to the existing message which is proposed by the mass media. And sometimes the mass media messages, whatever may be the intention of the message, that might be also sometimes altered by the opinion leaders when they passed on to the other sections of people. So if you see this diagram, there are in red color, we have the opinion leaders, and the mass media is the organization that is presenting the messages. The arrows means which the messages are flowing. Then these opinion leaders are in touch with the other individuals or less active individuals in the society. They are in touch with the opinion leaders. So mass media messages are flowing to the opinion leaders and from them to the other sections of people. So here, this two-step flow communication theory was criticized because the mass media messages also might reach the audience directly from the mass media, not the opinion leaders also. So there is a possibility of the messages flowing directly to the audience and also from the other opinion leaders also. So here, because of that, the two-step flow communication theory was criticized by the communication scholars. So because this was criticized, later that led to the formation of multi-step flow communication theory that was proposed again Elihu Kurtz and Lazarsfeld in the year 1955. According to this theory, mass media messages are flowing in many directions. These messages are flowing from the mass media to the opinion leaders, and also from the mass media, the opinion receivers or the less active individuals also receiving the information from the mass media. And there are opinion leaders who are acting as opinion leaders in society. They are also in touch with each other, and again the influence whatever they have regarding the messages, the influence they add to the existing message which they received from the mass media, and that they passed on to the other individuals. So here the individuals might receive the content from the mass media. Along with that, they may also consume the content from the opinion leaders with the interpersonal communication. And here opinion leaders also exchange the information, and they exchange the opinions regarding the messages what they receive from the mass media. And the opinion leaders are also very selective in the kind of information they pass on to the other individuals. And sometimes when the actual individual in the society, when they receive the information from the opinion leaders, the information might be altered, and the information whatever they receive from the mass media, with that information they also add their own opinion to the message, and then that they passed on to the other individuals in the society. And according to this multi-step flow communication theory, there is also a possibility of the individuals who may communicate with the mass media organizations. The messages not only flowing from the mass media to the less active individuals in the society with the intermediaries called opinion leaders, or directly the messages may flow to the other sections of the people, the individuals. And there is also a possibility that the opinion seekers or the receivers, they may also in touch with the mass media organizations in the form of sending a letter to the editor, etc. They can share their opinion to the mass media organization also, which means there is a possibility of communication, the horizontal, vertical, top down, and bottom of communication might happen in the society. The media messages flows to the audience directly, or they may flow to the opinion leaders, and from them the other sections of people. Here the opinion leaders also in touch with each other, and they exchange the opinion regarding the messages, and they add their own opinion to the existing message what they receive from the mass media, and that can they pass down to the other individuals with the day-to-day personal contacts. That is multi-step flow communication theory. And again, as part of your syllabus, you have normative media theories. Actually, there are 6 theories, but as part of your syllabus, you have only 4 theories. So normative media theories were proposed by Siebert, Theodore Peterson, and Wilbur Schramm. They proposed these theories looking at the world's national media systems, but they are not based on research. So they just looked at the media institutions, how they are functioning throughout the globe, the national media channels, and based on that, they propose these normative media theories. Why we are calling this normative means because they propose some kind of ideas how media ought to or can be expected to function, operate under a prevailing set of socio-economic political conditions. So because they are proposing some kind of norms, how the media has to function in a society, uh, within the society and a prevailing set of socio-economic political conditions. Because of that, because they are proposing certain norms for the media institutions, they are called as normative media theories. So here you have as part of the syllabus authoritarian theory, libertarian theory, social responsibility theory, and Soviet media theory. But after these theories was proposed in 1956. Later on, in the year 1980, there's a communication scholar called Dennis McQueen. He added 2 more theories to the existing 4 normative media theories. Those are called as development media theory and democratic participant theory. Those are not part of your syllabus at present. Okay. First theory is the authoritarian theory. This was evolved in 16th and 17th centuries after the invention of printing press by the John Gutenberg. So here, this authoritarian theory speaks that the media, whatever is there in the society, that is in the hands of the governments or the elite sections. So here, there is a possibility that public dissent or criticism that were considered as harmful to the government and also the people. Because of that, they used to control the media institutions so that the people will not be aware of what is presented by the media that is very critical to about the government, etc. So here, this authoritarian theory assumes that it is the media institutions disseminates information regarding the government or any other information that presented by the media itself is the what the government wants to disseminate for the public. So here, whether what is right, what is wrong is decided based on what the government or those who are in having power, etc., based on the opinions of them. So here the state also proposes and also imposes some kind of restrictions on the media institutions. And here, according to this authoritarian theory, the media institutions do not have any power or freedom of speech and expression, and the media institutions are controlled by the government. Without any kind of proper permission from the government, nobody can print any information. So if you see in our country, even though we have freedom of speech and expression, we can print whatever we want. But again, we are liable to the government, and based on the articles or the acts what are proposed by the government or the parliament, based on that, abide by that, we have to print. So like you might be having a press council of India guidelines where we will discuss uh, how to present the certain information for the public and what are the laws which are there, like anything which affects you also have under freedom of speech and expression. So here freedom of speech and expression is a fundamental right of an citizen in this country. So individuals can express their opinions, but apart from that, there are reasonable restrictions which are laid down on the freedom of speech and expression under Article 19(2) of the Indian Constitution. Anywhere, anything that affects the integrity of the country, unity of the nation, anything which affects the friendly relations with foreign states, anything which amounts to defamation, contempt of court, anything which affects the public order, morality, etc. In those kind of cases, you might not publish information when it affects all these issues. So here, but in authoritarian theory speaks that the government may impose a censorship on the material before you publish, or it also grant exclusive printing rights for the people. But again, that is in accordance with the government, what they want to impose. So here, anything which is critical about the government, etc., in those kind of issues might not be reflected in the newspapers or in the broadcast media. Yes. So if you see the principles of this authoritarian theory, media should not do anything that will undermine the established authority or the government, etc. Media should be always subordinate to the state power or the established authority, and censorship is justified, and it is the government, it can impose censorship on the publications which are printed in a society. And media should also avoid offense to majority dominant and moral and also political values. Unacceptable attacks on authority, deviations from the official policy are considered as the criminal offenses according to the authoritarian theory. And journalists and media professionals who are working in the media institutions do not have any independence, and whatever the uh, duty they are doing is abide by the rules and regulations of the authority or the government. When you see the libertarian theory, just now I said individuals have the freedom of speech and expression. Based on that, we can print whatever we want. Influence means. Okay. So influence is nothing but it will తెలుగులో ఏమంటాం ప్రభావం అన్నమాట. How the government have its maybe the kind of implications. అర్థమైందా influence అంటే like I may influence you regarding the subject which I taught, which means it might have some kind of impact on the one who are listening to the lecture. So like that. So libertarian theory, this was evolved in 16th century, and later on it was refined in the 18th century. This is completely opposite to the other theory, authoritarian theory. And according to the libertarian theory, individuals have freedom of speech and expression, and individuals can publish the information, they can disseminate the information, even they can obtain the information from various sources without any kind of permission from the government or the authorities. Even the publications they can send or they can disseminate through the various means of platforms, and nobody can restrict the publication or publishing the information for the benefit of the public. So here, the freedom, individuals have freedom of the press. If you see the principles of libertarian theory, just there is no compulsion to publish anything. So the government should not impose on the individuals or the people who are owning the media institutions. So here, there should not be any compulsion to publish by the media institutions, which means the government or any other forces should not interfere with the publishing of any information. So they should not ask the publications or the media institutions to publish anything compulsorily. And no restriction should be placed upon the individuals for gathering the information for the publication. So as the individuals have freedom of speech and expression, the same way it also includes they can gather the information from various sources. So here the individuals like a reporter who are working for the media institutions, they can gather the information from the various sources and they can publish the information. And the act of publication and distribution should be open to a person without any kind of license or permit. But if you see in India, without the permission or license, we cannot publish or disseminate the information. So ours, where we have even the the libertarian theory is applicable to our country. And again, the authoritarian theory also applicable to our country, where if you see the public broadcasting systems, from the beginning, 1923 onwards, they used these radio channels as the tools to propagate the information where they want to propagate. The same way, when the British government took over the radio broadcasting facilities in 1930s, they used exclusively the radio to promote their propaganda or their own interest through the radio channels. At present, whatever the media institutions, they are under the control of the government. They would not present anything which is critical about the government, etc. So which means we even have the freedom of speech and expression, but even though those media institutions which are owned by the government, they act as the tools of the government for disseminating their own interest or their own information, what they want to disseminate for the larger audience. But even though we have the media institutions, after getting the license or the permission from the government. Like we have RNI, Registrar of Newspaper for India, where if you want to have a print a newspaper or a magazine, etc., you have to take permission and the license from the Registrar of Newspapers for India. And the same way, if you want to have your own cable TV networks, etc., you have to get permission under the Cable TV Regulation Act. You would have to approach the postmaster of a head post office, and you have to get permission or the license. Then only you can transmit your signals through the cable TV. So the same way, even this principles of libertarian theory and authoritarian theory are applicable to the Indian, whatever we have the media systems. Then there should be no restrictions for the media. Those should not be imposed by the government for getting or sending information overseas, which means that individuals can print the publications and they can disseminate, they can send their own publications to foreign overseas people also to reach the larger audience. And here, in authoritarian theory, people do not have any functional freedom, the journalists. But here, the journalists have professional autonomy within the organization where they function, which means they have autonomy when they are functioning in the media organization. They also have the freedom of speech and expression. Based on that, they can disseminate the information what they want to disseminate without the restrictions by the government. But the individuals, like just now I said, under the reasonable restrictions which are laid down on the freedom of speech and expression, based on that, you have to disseminate the information for the public. Otherwise, individuals will be penalized, or they can be charged under the Official Secrets Act or any other defamation laws, etc., or violating the privacy of individuals. There are certain laws. Abide by those laws, you have to function. Otherwise, you may be, as a journalist, even though you have freedom of speech and expression, you have to weigh that the information, whether the information is printed in the interest of the public or not. You have to outweigh the advantages and the disadvantages of publishing any information. For example, if you want, there is a 144 section is imposed on certain areas where the communal violence took place in a particular place, etc. So whether as a media institution, you have to promote, you have a responsibility to promote the communal harmony in the society. So you should not exaggerate the news which is happening, the incidents which are happening in a particular place. So you are again work as a person who have responsibility towards the society. Then you have here social responsibility theory. This theory was proposed based on a report called Hutchins Commission report, that is also called as Commission on Freedom of the Press. That was a commission which was appointed in 1947 to see how the media institutions are functioning in the society. According to this Hutchins Commission's this social responsibility theory, people have a right to criticize the government and other institutions, but even though they also have a responsibility to preserve democracy by properly informing the public and by responding to the society's interests and needs, which means even though you can criticize the government, you have the right to freedom of speech and expression. You also have a responsibility. Just now I said it is the responsibility of the media to promote communal harmony in the society. The same way, as a journalist, as a media institution, you have a special responsibility to protect the democracy or the country by promoting the interests and the needs of the society. Whatever the needs which are having by the public, those needs you have to satisfy through the profession called your journalism. So here the citizens have the right to access to the information about the various issues. For example, the government, when constructs bridges or when they are maybe spending a lot of money on the schemes or any government schemes, etc., it is the duty of the government to provide that information for the public. If they are not openly providing that information, it is the duty of the media to present that information for the public. You have to gather that information, you have to present that information for the public. So here, that is something the media is having a social responsibility, and it is promoting openness in the society. And the media has a special responsibility. It acts as a watchdog of the society. It what you call it, exposes the corruption or other activities which are happening in the society. So it is a the media is any other institute. It is an institution where it bridges the gap between the common man and the government. It reflects the people's problems and the issues, etc., as a bridge between the public and the government. And government comes to know when you present this information through your media platforms. So if you see the social responsibility theory, the principles, media has certain obligations to the society, and those obligations has to be served by maintaining highest professional standards, truth, accuracy, objectivity, and balance. Truth means generally the media institutions only present the information that is true. Accuracy has to be maintained, which means only the accurate information has to be presented for the public. Objectivity is maintained when you present the objective information for the public. You have to deal with in a fair and balanced way. Fairness is nothing but you have to present the issue from all sides, then the fairness and balance is maintained. And as a journalist, you might have different attitudes and perceptions regarding the issues you present as a reporter. But your attitude, your opinion regarding the subject or issue you present for the public should not be the opinion of yourself, but you have to present the accurate, objective, and true information for the public. And you have to give a chance for the public to adopt or maybe perceive the information the way the issue has happened. And in accepting and fulfilling these obligations, whatever the obligations you have for the society to serve, the media should be self-regulating within the framework of law and established institutions. Just now I said there are certain laws which are enacted by the parliament of this country. Abide by those laws and the act, you have to function. Even though you have certain obligations to fulfill for the public and the society, you are abide by the law and established institutions which look after what is flowing in the society. And here, the media professionals and the journalists who are working in the media institutions are accountable to the society as well as their employers. So, media, the journalists are accountable to the individuals whom they are serving for. Okay. And also, the journalists are accountable to their own employers, abide by all those laws which are enacted by the parliaments or the governments, etc. They have to fulfill the obligations of the society. So here, like as an individual, if you are without the media institutions, you would not be able to know what is happening in the society, like the news, north, east, west, and south. The information is whatever is happening throughout the globe that is presented for the public in the form of the news. So journalism is a profession where that information is disseminated for the larger audience. So you might have a curiosity to know what is happening in the society. Your curiosity is satisfied by the profession called journalism. So every day, whatever is happening in the society, those news or the events are presented for the public by the media institutions. So when you are presenting the news, what is happening throughout the globe for the public, you are setting an agenda, and what you set an agenda for the public is the order of issues which you present for the public in the form of placement of stories in the newspaper and in the form of presenting the news in the news bulletin. So that we call it as a agenda setting function of the media. There are various people who work in the media institutions whom we call as the gatekeepers. They filter the information before the information is going to be disseminated for the larger audience. So according to the social responsibility theory, the media has certain obligations to fulfill for the society, and they have to maintain highest professional standards while fulfilling these objectives of the society, and the media professionals are accountable to the society. And when it comes to the Soviet media theory, where the Soviet media theory sees that media is another instrument of the state power. It will only acts as an instrument of the government and present what the government wants to present for the public. Like it is more or less like the authoritarian theory, but here the media is something which presents. It acts as a development tool for the public. It disseminates information for the interest of the public, but again, it is considered as a instrument of the state power, like any other institutions, like what we have the schools, police, and assemblies, etc. It is also is one of the institutions that will be trying to protect the communist philosophy or the ideology of this Soviet Union's and communist philosophy. So here, media, according to this Soviet media theory, media should not be owned privately. But if you see the libertarian theory, that individuals should have the freedom of speech and expression, and they can own their own media institutions. But Soviet media theory speaks that media should not be privately owned, and the media should only serve the interests of the working class, not the common people or the common man in the society. And here it is media responds to the wishes and needs of their audience. Even though it is working as an instrument of the state power, but it can also serve the positive functions of the society, like promoting education, providing information, and motivating the individuals on certain issues, and mobilizing the humans, the individuals in the society. So here, which means even though media can be controlled by the government, there are certain positive functions the media institutions have, and serving the public by providing information, education, entertainment, motivation, and mobilization. So here, according to this theory, society also have a right to punish for the anti-social publication. So any publication, if it is anti-social, for example, we have our country is a democratic country and secular country. Secular country means where all the religions are equally treated, and it is all the individuals have freedom of religion, which means any individuals can practice any religion, preach a religion, etc., and may attend a place of worship what they want. Okay, so here, as in a democratic society, if an individual want to promote their religion with the help of the publications, etc., that is considered as a anti-social publication. So we, as a RNI or the government, will not permit anti-social publications that might promote a kind of communal disharmony in the society. So here, journalists' aims and ideas should coincide with the best interests of the society. So the journalist should have a aim to present the information for the benefit of the public or the individuals who are living in the society. And along with that, media should provide a complete objective view of the society. But even though it acts as any other instrument of the state power, it is the duty of the media to present a complete objective view of the society through the publications of the media institutions. That is about your Soviet media theory. Then as part of your syllabus, you also have the diffusion of innovations theory. So here, diffusion is nothing but a process where the information or ideas or maybe the goods, services, etc., anything, those are disseminated for the public. So diffusion is nothing but dissemination or spread of the innovations in the society. So here, this diffusion of innovation theory was proposed by Everett Rogers in the year 1962. He summarized various diffusion studies and produced a theory called diffusion of innovations theory that speaks about how the new innovations are disseminated or diffused in the social system. So here, innovation can be an idea or innovation can be an object, or it can be a practice, or it can be a technology which is perceived as new by the individuals. So innovation is something that we as the individuals perceive as a new in the society. And these new innovations are diffused or spread in the social system using various tools of communication as the platforms to disseminate this information for the public. So, for example, during the COVID time, wearing a mask or maybe maintaining the social distance was considered as a practice. So this practice is disseminated using various communication channels by presenting if you maintaining social distance from others, or if you wear a mask, what are the benefits you get, how you would not be affected by the COVID, etc. Which means this is also an innovation that is being disseminated using the various means of communication channels. So innovation can be a product, innovation can be a technology, innovation can be an idea, it can be an object. So for example, if it is a practice, just now I said, wearing a mask, maintaining social distance, the same way, it can be an idea that you want to disseminate for the public. You might have different ideas. Those ideas can be considered as new by the other individuals in the society that you disseminate using your maybe various communication tools. So here, any new idea that is diffused in the social system over a period of time. Yes. So how the innovations cannot be diffused in a single day or two, but the innovations which you considered as new would be diffused or spread in the social system over a period of time. So diffusion is a process where these new innovations are communicated, diffused in the social system over a period of time using various means of communication channels. So here, there are 5 factors which influence the diffusion rate of an innovation. So what are the 5 factors which influence the diffusion rate of an innovation? The relative advantages. So relative advantages means when you look at the previous innovations, for example, if you consider an innovation as a product, how the new product is having advantages when you compare with the other previous product which you have used. And the compatibility is whether the new innovation is compatible to use in your life. Complexity and simplicity is whether the practicing or using of this new innovation is complex or simple to use. Triability is whether the new innovations are accessible to you. For example, if it is a I-22, S-22 series mobile phone, for example. So whether this is affordable, what are the advantages you get if you use that? Whether that mobile phone is compatible to your system, or whether it is affordable to you or not, whether it suits, which means whether compatible, whether depending on your socio-economic conditions, whether it is compatible to use that innovation in your life, whether it is simple to use or complex to use. For example, driving a car, whether it is simple to drive a car or whether there are any complications in that particular new car which you want to buy. So like that, you have to weigh your advantages and disadvantages. Triability refers to whether that new innovation is accessible. For example, if it is a phone, where the phone can be available in a road by shop or maybe in a shopping mall or where this can be tried. If it is a car, where that car you can buy. So like that, you have to vary the advantages and the disadvantages. When it comes to the observability, so when you are buying a new product like S-22 series mobile phone, whether it can be observed for the public. If you buy a car, if you keep your car in front of your house, then that may be visible for others. People can observe your car. So like that, these are the 5 factors which influence the diffusion rate of an innovation. For example, if it is a family planning, if you want to promote as an idea or a practice, what are the advantages you get? How you can control the population, how you can take care of your family, how whether it is maybe having any advantages to go for family planning, etc. Whether it is compatible to your all your family, which means in certain religions, etc., they may not go for that. So whether it is compatible to your system or maybe your family, etc., whether it is a simple operation or complex thing to go for, where you can go for that surgery, whether it can be seen for the observable for others. So all these factors will influence the individual to go for the family planning. So like that, if it is an idea or if it is a product, what are the advantages the product will bring into your life, whether it is compatible to use or not, whether it is simple or complex to use, whether it suits to your life or in your family, whether it is accessible or not, whether it is observable for others or not. Those are the factors which influence the individuals to adopt the new innovations. And what are the 5 stages where the individuals will come to know about the new innovations? So first one is the awareness stage, interest, second is interest, third is decision, fourth is try and experiment, fifth is selection and rejection. So when it comes to the awareness stage, where people come to know about the new innovation in the society. So here, just now I said, mass media channels will disseminate a lot of information regarding various things. So the same way, if it is a new innovation, that new innovation is communicated using various means of communication channels like mass media, social media, or digital media platforms, where you will disseminate the information for the public. So when they have some interest in those new innovations, etc., they will look for some more additional information in the interest stage. So after they feel that this innovation will suit to their family or compatible to use, etc., then they decide to go for buying or practicing the new innovation. So the decision has been taken by the individuals. Then they try and experiment with that, the new innovation. They try or experiment means they actually use the new innovation in their life. After that, if they find some kind of advantages, then they will go for adopting the new innovation. They select the innovation, or else if they found some disadvantages with the new innovation or new product, etc., they simply go and reject the new innovation. And when it comes to the 5 categories of adopters, who are the 5 categories of adopters? So the first one is the new innovators. They are the first individuals to adopt the new innovation. They are willing to take a risk. For example, if it is a smartphone like S22 series, first the individuals mean the company members or those who invented, they will first use and try the innovation. So then they will take the risk, then only they will release it in the market. Those comprise 2.5% of the people. Then early majority, they comprise 13.5%. They are generally typically younger in age and having highest social status upper. They have more finances so that they can go for adopting the new innovation. Then they have advanced education. They are socially forward than the others. So because of this high social status, economic flexibility, what they have because of the education, they are the one they next adopt the new innovations. And early majority, they comprise for 34% of the individuals. After varying degree of time, these individuals buy or adopt the new innovations. They have average social status. Then when it comes to the late majority, after majority of the individuals, those who have adopted the new innovation, these are the category of people. They look, they observe others, and finally they adopt the innovation. Innovations, they comprise 34% of the total population. Then here, laggards are the last category of the adopters, those who would want to adopt the new innovation after contacting their own friends and the family members, after getting confirmation from the friends and other family, they would decide to go for those adopting the new innovations in their life. And by the time the innovations might be replaced by the new innovations, and sometimes the products might not be available in the market to adopt. So they comprise 16% according to the Everett Rogers. This is the curve which shows that this first one is innovator, early adopters, early majority, late majority, and laggards. So just now we have discussed the factors, the stages where people come to know about the new innovations and the categories of adopters. But what is the role of the media? In the beginning, when you want to disseminate any information, you have to use various communication channels as the platforms to disseminate that information for the public. So unless you disseminate that information using various means of communication channels, the innovations will not reach the public or the target groups. So a communication channels is nothing but a means by which the messages regarding your new innovations are disseminated over a period of time among the members of the social system. So here, the mass media, along with that, interpersonal communication channels you have to use. For example, you have launched a product. First, you disseminate that information using the mass media channels as the platforms of communication. And later on, interpersonal communication channels also people use like personal selling techniques they use to disseminate or maybe selling those products for the larger public. So here, as one of the mass media function is persuasion. So here, the mass media is something which persuades the audience to go for adopting the new innovations in the society. So initially, the mass media channels are very important in spreading the information regarding the new innovations. Then the interpersonal networks would also play a major role in changing the perceptions of people regarding the adopting of new innovations. So just now we have discussed about the opinion leaders. So like people, peer groups or opinion leaders, etc., they are the one who help these sections, various sections of people through the personal contacts. They influence them to go for adopting the new innovations in the society. So here, the new innovations are diffused or spread in the social system over a period of time, and people come to adopt the new innovations from the beginning to the end. Like what you have a product life cycle, introduction, maturity, and the decline. So here, a product or an idea is introduced in the society using the various means of communication channels. You disseminate the information about this product, and people come to adopt the new innovations. And the same way, a new innovation would also be communicated for the public using various means of communication channels. So this is a diffusion of innovations here. Okay, we'll wind up the session today. Now we'll see what when we will have the other classes. You have any doubts? Just this will be live streamed anyway on your YouTube channels. You can go and watch the program. I don't know what are the questions which are important. Based on you, whatever the syllabus you have, like block 1, what it covers, the units. Based on that, you have to go and read. Shalom, I'm leaving the session. Thank you. Stop sharing.